Well, welcome to the Thursday night edition of Debsterism. Oh, man, this was a rough one. Prepping for this was kind of rough because as I was reading through some of the comments up on the wall, I could see the hundreds and hundreds of women that are suffering from low emotional intelligence. And it really, like I kind of mentioned on Tuesday at the on the what the fuck chat. This is something that has great implications as far as you being able to handle not only your emotions, but to recognize emotions in other people that are close to you, like your man, like your parents, your siblings, your coworkers, even your children. And if you're not good, or you don't understand what you're seeing and hearing, you don't understand what the body language is of a person that you're talking to, you're going to make some major faux pas, which could cost you promotions. It could cost you relationships. It could cause you lost opportunities because you're not reading the situation well. You're not reading, what's going on in somebody's mind. I mean, most people are not sociopaths. I mean, there are, psychopaths and sociopaths out there, but most people will pretty much show you, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and especially those close to you. But if they're showing you and you're not getting it, then you're going to do and say things that are considered inappropriate. It's going to hurt their feelings, and cause a lot of unnecessary conflict. So that's what we're going to talk tonight on the Debsterism channel, something called emotional intelligence, and I'm also going to be throwing in there some a bit of information on how it's interrelated with emotional maturity, because the two go hand in hand. And, if you're an immature person, you're going to lack emotional maturity as well. Although there are some people that are mature emotionally that still lack emotional intelligence. So, but they do tend to go hand in hand. You've been learning a lot. That's good. That's what I'm here for. I mean, what's the point of having all this knowledge in this gigantic head of mine if I don't do nothing with it? It just sits there. So, the whole point is to share with you guys, um, my life experience and what I learned, and, all the people that I talked to and everything. And so, you don't have to make the same mistakes, not only that I made, but people that I know made, people that I've talked to. And for those of you who are new here, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. It's not like I'm a new person on the scene. I'm relatively new to YouTube. I give you that. So my people are like, well, you've been doing it for 30 years. Why you only have, whatever number thousand of people? I was like, well, I mean, can you start 2 years ago and do better? I mean, what do you want from me? I do have other stuff to do besides be on YouTube. But I think for considering the time and length of time I've been on here, it's just, it's doing pretty well. So anyway, let's get started. Let's good to see everybody. I hope that you can take something away from this. If you have questions, I'll stop every so often and ask for questions. So, if you have some as I go along, feel free to hold on to them from a little bit. Um, so much less turmoil. That's good. That's what we want. The whole point is for you guys to progress and advance, not to keep going in circles over and over doing the same thing, making the same mistakes. All right, so let's start, like I like to do, by defining the term and let you know, okay, this is the working definition that we're going to be working with as we go through this whole thing. So, what is emotional material? So, I thought about, okay, this is what I wrote. Um, we all know people who are academically, they're book smart, right? They're academically high achievers. They get them straight A's. They get, honor rolls. They get on dean's list. They get, magna cum laude on, when they graduate and all this kind of stuff. They're very smart up here. But what they don't tend to have is good relationships with other people. Their relationships are raggedy, or they don't have nobody at all. They may not have many friends. They may not have many networks. This, of course, is not everybody, but I'm talking about the people who you would expect, based on their academic performance, to go out into the world and be very successful. But they're not. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with their inability to connect and to read people and to identify even their own emotions. So all of those things in the workplace and in interpersonal relationships come into play and can shoot you in the foot real tough. All right. So high IQ will get you into some of the best schools. You'll get your scholarships. You get research opportunities if you go into STEM and stuff. You know, you get some great opportunities there. But it's your emotional intelligence that's going to help you manage your emotions and the stress that will ultimately have a great impact on whether or not the opportunities that you've been presented to come to fruition, or if you just basically bomb out. Because people, if they deem you to be like, weird or strange or whatever, you don't fit into the corporate culture, you'll lose those same opportunities that you would have had because you don't fit in. Other people don't know how to interact with you, and you don't know how to interact with them. And it creates a very awkward um, situation, and sometimes it turns actually hostile because you're inadvertently hurting people's feelings and stepping on toes when you don't even really understand that that's what you're doing. Now, people who have who've been diagnosed as Asperger's and these kind of things, they have a diagnosis, and so this is kind of expected of them. But if you don't have such a diagnosis and you just lack this one skill, you, as well as somebody with Asperger's, may be able to work on these points I'm going to be presenting to you and better yourself, as you go along. It's not easy. And trust me, nobody is born being an emotionally intelligent individual. I think some people probably have more, are born with a more empathetic nature than others, maybe. I mean, it has to start somewhere. But anybody can learn to be, can develop their skills to be better at being emotionally intelligent. Or I don't know how I'm trying to say that, but you know what I mean. So let's talk. Okay, here's the definition. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand, key word, recognize and understand emotions in both ourselves and other people, and to manage them in socially appropriate ways. People who have a high level of emotional intelligence do not deny their feelings. But since they are in touch with their emotions, they tend to have a vast vocabulary to articulate them. Okay, that's another thing. You don't just say, "Oh, I'm mad." What does that mean? I'm mad. Okay, so, I'm disappointed in this individual. I feel disrespected by this individual. Um, I'm angry because blah 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 blah. Okay, they have more definitive words. I'm embarrassed at your behavior, like your kid. These kind of things. So they use more words that are far more descriptive and accurate to communicate their feelings so that people actually know what the fuck they're feeling, what they're talking about. All right. Yeah, it's no confusion. It's important because how you interpret situations will directly impact how you respond to them emotionally. Okay, so if you're misunderstanding your own feelings, or you're not in touch with your own feelings, or you misinterpret or not in touch with somebody else's feelings, you're going to misinterpret what you're seeing and hearing, and you're going to respond in a way that makes no sense to anybody else. Okay, now emotional maturity, the ability to handle conflict without escalating it or blame shifting. Oh my God, this is the main one. When someone's emotionally mature, they fix problems and behavior responsibly, and they're fully accountable for their actions and their words. They face uncomfortable conversations and situations with courage. You're not going to shy back down from, checking somebody or telling somebody, that they did something inappropriate to you, your child, your property, whatever. You're not going to back down from that. Part of being emotionally mature is a certain level of confidence as well. So people who are emotionally mature deal with issues, the behavior, without personal attacks on people, like name calling. Okay, they think before they speak, So these are not the kind of people that you'll ever find popping off at the mouth. They're gonna stop and pause. They might look at you crazy, but they're not gonna say anything until they get their words together, right? And then they're gonna like basically Lux girl, there's a whole bunch of 'em. Wait till I go through these descriptions. I'm sure y'all gonna see yourselves in here. You don't have to, you don't have to put yourself on Front Street, but you're gonna see not only yourself in here, but a lot of people that are close to you, and it's fine. Everybody's at a different level of development. I'm not saying everybody got to jump out and be emotionally mature and emotionally intelligent overnight. That's not necessarily going to happen. This is going to take a lot of work because you get into ruts, you get into patterns that you're comfortable with, even if they're negative patterns, you're comfortable with it, and it's a challenge to make yourself stop. Think of how many people try to stop smoking, stop drinking, lose weight. Do they succeed? I mean, some eventually, but most fail. I mean, you might have to try several times yourself before you actually succeed. So when you're talking about trying to change your outlook and the way that you manage your emotions and the way that you manage yourself and the way you manage your mouth, that's going to be hard for a lot of people. And I'm just warning you now, I'm just saying, just get ready. Okay, so, they pop off at the mouth. They also respect boundaries and they accept when you say no. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. We see a marked lack of both emotional intelligence and emotional maturity when we be dealing with these knick-knocks, right? It could be a knick-knock that you love to death. You might be married to the fool. But what happens is, just say, for example, we're talking, because this always happens on my Facebook channel. It even happens here. Okay, we talking about something that men do that women just find hurtful, damaging, destructive, frightening. I mean, whatever is the issue, women are talking about. We wish men didn't do this thing. Okay, and so we point out the behavior. We talk about why it hurts us and why we would like to see it handled differently, different behavior, whatever. Okay, instead of listening to that, the men get defensive. They want to attack you for speaking out about the way that they mistreat you. Have you guys noticed that? You get called names. You get told why you shouldn't think like that. You get told, well, not all men are like that. Like we supposed to have some kind of psychic way to see which ones are. And you told that's why you single. And you told that that's how what women and white men do it too. And even if they admit that some men do this thing, they feel like you shouldn't really attack them because you black and you supposed to be on their side. And that if you do attack this behavior or whatever we're talking about, we're not saying these people because we don't know the individual. We're talking about the behavior, okay, the attitude, the way that it's damaging women and girls. Okay, we're on a very specific thing. Instead of listening to that and saying, yeah, this is a negative thing, I wish my brothers did do that, or if I saw something like that in myself, I'm gonna change it. No, 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 they don't do that. They want to launch into attack, and because if you say something negative, that means that you hate all men, even though you're specifically talking about men that only do this thing. So in their mind, it translates into all men, that you hate all men. And what the bottom line is they lack the emotional maturity and the emotional intelligence to discuss the issue at hand, which is the behavior. That's all we're talking about. But they can't seem to separate themselves from the behavior. And so it's all one bundle to them. It's them, their behavior, their life, all other men on the planet. Everything is connected in their minds. So, they get very defensive and they launch this full scale attack on you. Now, this was really interesting. I love to read stories, I mean, studies rather. And I'd be on all these scientific research websites and all the stuff looking. And I found this one. I forgot I remember it's like 2006 or something like that, but I forgot to write all the stuff down. But anyway, it showed that members of couples in which both partners score high on a performance test of emotional intelligence tend to be happier and more satisfied with their relationships than members of couples in which both partners score low. Well, duh. The study also said that the rate of good emotional intelligence amongst male partners in heterosexual relationships is frighteningly low, only 35%. So that basically means that 65% of men in relationships do not have or choose not to use. Now, they might not have, they might have it, they just not want it, just choose not to use it. Their emotional intelligence when they're engaging with their partner during conflict. Basically, when they argue and having some kind of disagreement, the men resort to some, really painful way of communicating. They do not use any kind of emotionally intelligent skills. That's what these scientists are saying. So, according to these researchers, it boils down to three things: power, influence, and a stigma. And to maintain their power and influence, men resort to what they call the four horsemen of conflict: stonewalling, defensiveness, criticism, and contempt to retain their power. I was like, well, god damn. When you look at this kind of thing, so basically, with only 35% of men utilizing any kind of skills of emotional intelligence, and most of y'all dealing with the 65%, no wonder your relationships are all fucked up. These men are all fucked up in the head. They're just clueless. They don't be acting right and they don't be thinking right. And it's impossible, a good relationship is not necessarily based on the fact that you guys get along and have all this, stuff in common. A good relationship is formulated by resolution of conflict and disagreements. How you resolve conflict with your partner is going to be the key to your long term success. How y'all talk to each other, how y'all work together. When someone of you has a problem, is it a problem for just that one? Or is it a problem for both of y'all? Do you roll up your sleeves and dig in and say, well, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but we going to figure it out and we going to do this together? Is that your attitude? And according to these scientists, that's not the attitude that 65% of men have. And I'm like, okay, we kind of knew this, you know what I mean? We've seen too many examples of it, but to put a hard number with it and to have all these scientists say the same thing, and these are men doing this research, so if the men say it about their compadres, who am I to argue? So I thought, wow, this is super interesting. I have to share this on the show. So there you go. What luck say? The millennials are turning into women. Well, they're really not turning into women, because what they're doing is they're trying to imitate being a woman. That's what they're doing. They're a very poor imitation of women, but they will never, ever, ever be women. So when you have these men, effeminized men, that's what they are. Um, but they still have male traits of communication, domination, and attitudes of power and control over women. Well, what does that do? That's something for y'all to think about. I'm not going to get into that tonight, but that's something I think about a lot. It's like, okay, you trying to look like them, but you got that man attitude. So, you bringing that into the world of women and talking about you one of us. No, the fuck you're not. Because we don't think like that. They always want to think that they're most important and that what they want is something that should be, forced on us. And so that's another conversation, though, for another day. Maybe one of those free for all conversations where we talk about everything under the sun. So let's move on. Why is emotional intelligence necessary? A necessary component to a successful and healthy relationship. Well, you got to have both emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, because other people, no matter what, you want to maintain a healthy relationship with other people, no matter what the relationship is, whether it's peers, in the office, whether it's members of your church, girls in your sorority, your neighbors, the other parents that, Johnny and me play group. I mean, whatever it is, you want to try to maintain civil and friendly relationships with everyone around. It makes life so much better. It makes life so much easier and so much fun. You get a lot invited to a lot of places. You go things. People like you. They give you gifts. I mean, it's fun, right? And without those kind of traits to offer, you're going to have communications problems with other people and one failed relationship after another. So let's take a moment. I want to do, you guys got a piece of paper and a pencil? I'll give you a moment to grab one. Okay, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and we're going to do a quick survey. And I want you guys to answer very honestly. Wait, where is it? I got to find it. While you find your paper and pencil, oh, here it is. I will find my survey. You got a pencil and paper? I'll give you like another 10 or 15 seconds. I'll drink some water. Because I'm going to ask some questions, and then you're going to number them. You're going to put down a number from, I don't know, let me see. How many questions are in each group? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. One, two, four, six, eight, 10. Two, four, six, eight, 10. Okay. All right. So you're going to have one, two, three, four groups of 10 down the side of the page. Oh no, this ain't even homework, honey. This a quiz. As they call it, a pop quiz. Y'all ready? This is what you're going to do. After each question, you're going to rate it like this: 0 is never, 1 is rarely, 2 is sometimes, 3 is often, and number 4 means you always do this. Okay? Y'all be honest, because this means this is going to let you know how you are doing on your emotional intelligence uh tip here. Remember, the goal in here, you coming up in here and sitting up through all this stuff, is to try to make yourself better, right? What is our goal? To live our best life. So you start lying to yourself, you're not gonna be able to do that. Oh, somebody from SAC. I just looked up there. What's up, homegirl? All right, let's go on with this. Okay, you guys see, I put the scoring thing up there, so if you forget, just look at the screen. Okay, question. My feelings are clear to me at any given moment. Write your number down. Emotions play an important part in my life. And write the first number that comes to your mind, 1 to 4. They're up there on the screen. My moods impact the people around me. I find it easy to put words to my feelings. My moods are easily affected by external events. I can easily sense when I'm going to be pissed off. I can easily tell others my true feelings. I find it easy to describe my feelings. Even when I'm upset, I'm aware of what's going on around me. I'm sorry, what's happening to me. Even when I'm upset, I'm aware of what's happening to me. And the last question for this group: I am able to stand apart from my thoughts and feelings and examine them. Okay, now you're going to add up your score. Of course, 0 is no points, 1 is, each one for 1 is a point, and then you write a number by that group. Okay, we're moving on to group number 2, the next 10 questions. The scorecard is still on the screen. I accept responsibility for my actions and reactions. Okay, so put that is 0, 1, whatever you got. I find it easy to make goals and stick with them. I am an emotionally balanced person. I am a very patient person. I can accept critical comments from others without becoming angry. I maintain my composure even during stressful times. If an issue does not affect me directly, I don't let it bother me. I can restrain myself when I feel anger towards someone. I control urges to overindulge in things that could damage my well being. I direct my energy into creative work or hobbies. Okay, that was the last one in this group. Total up your score. Zero is no points. Each one is marked one is 1 point. Each one is marked two is, and so on and so forth. Total up your score and write it beside that group. We're moving on to group number 3. The first question: I consider the impact of my decisions on other people before acting. I can tell easily if the people around me are becoming annoyed. I sense it when a person's mood changes. I am able to be supportive when giving bad news to others. I am generally able to understand the way other people feel. My friends can tell me intimate things about themselves. It genuinely bothers me to see other people suffer. I usually know when to speak and when to shut up. I care about what happens to other people. I understand when people's plans change. That's the last question for this group. Again, total your score and write the number beside the group. This is the final group. I am able to show affection easily. My relationships are safe places for me. I find it easy to share my deepest feelings with other people. I am good at motivating others. I am a fairly cheerful person. It is easy for me to make friends. People tell me I'm sociable and fun. I really like helping people. Others can depend on me. And the final question in our final group: I am able to talk someone down if they are very upset. Again, total your numbers for that group and write them down. Now, I will tell you what these groups are. I'm back. Okay. The first group is emotional awareness. Your second group is emotional management skills. The third group is social emotional awareness. And the final group is rates your relationship management skills. Now, let's go over your scores. If you got, I saw somebody said if you got, anyway, if you got 35 or above in any group, you have enhanced skills in that area. Use those, as leverage to develop the areas in which you are weaker. Okay, that's the way to do that. You're really good at that thing. Okay, that part of having emotional intelligence. If there are other areas as you go through these scores that you see you're maybe not as good at, then use that skill to develop the areas where you're weaker. Okay. If you're in the 25 to 34 point group. Now, keep in mind, this is rating each group separately. You're not totaling all of them up. Each group is being ranked separately. So 35 and above is the enhanced skill set. Your 25 to 34 group, you have pretty, effective functioning. You would consider strengthening those areas where you were lower on your score. Okay, because those indicate some problem areas. Now, if you got, less than 24 in any of the groups, you need some works. You need some work, and you need, to pay attention, and you need some development time. Group two is emotional management. That's self management of your own emotions. Okay. The final one was relationship management, which is managing the relationship and the emotions, as it relates to your partner. Your stream cut out. Oh no. Well, hopefully mine didn't, and so people can go back and listen. So I thought, this was pretty interesting. This test was developed at University of Minnesota, and I just thought it would be a quick little test for us to do here on the air, so you guys could get a handle on which areas you might be, um, needing a little work, or where you are. Where are you in this thing? Because I'm gonna tell you, um, as I thought about this and I looked at putting this show together, people, when I go back to that video on Tina Knowles, and the interview that they did for Oprah, and how she was telling him how he wasn't perfect, far from it, and doing all this networking and lip smacking and popping and stuff, and then the expression on his face. It was, if you go on that video and you look at the comments there, it's just unbelievable. How many sisters just didn't fucking get it, and they were looking, looking at this man look crestfallen, and he's looking all dismayed and everything, and they're like, well, she was just joking around, and she that's how they play. Obviously, that's not how they play, because nobody was laughing. When you're playful, you're enjoying it, and you're looking pleased and smiling, right? I mean, isn't that how you look when you having a good time? That's how I look when I'm having a good time. I don't look like how dude looked. And so for these sisters to make that determination based on that man's expression was just shocking to me. It's like, how the fuck did you get, they were having fun and laughing and playing with each other from that? And that's what I'm saying. If you are that lost and your shit is that raggedy as far as your understanding of what is going on with other people emotionally, you need to do some work on yourself, and you will never have a successful relationship that way, because you will never understand what your man is showing you on his face. You're going to be seeing what you want to see other than what is there. And that's not a relationship. I don't know what that is. So this is like key to understanding what is going on with your partner. You should get, you have to be able to understand what he's thinking, what he's feeling. Sometimes women understand that better than he does himself, or they have more vocabulary to articulate it. Like I said, somebody got 26. Oh, Lux, you just barely escaped. So on the questions that you got the low scores on, you would want to focus on what that question means, and then try to work on that. See, I'm like, and I'm not here to like dig in you guys' butts and stuff like this. I'm just telling you, okay, Riz, I'm sorry, you got some work to do, honey, child. Um, my thing is not to condemn you or try to make you feel bad. It's to show you areas where you can better yourself. That's my job here. To make you be the best you that you can be. And I can't do that and get you there if I'm steady coddling you and holding your hand and telling you how wonderful and perfect and stellar you are. I'm sure there are things about you guys that are those things. So, I'm never going to condemn your whole person. But in areas where you are lagging, where areas where you are weak, where areas where you need to be a better woman, you can be a better partner, you can be a better career woman, employee, you can be a better friend, you can be a better mommy. These are the things that we're working on, so that you are your best self for everybody that you love, including yourself. Okay. You grew up in a harsh environment. Well, that's that. Yeah, a lot of people. And I have a lot of women that come here that grew up in foster homes and group homes and stuff. They didn't have nobody. And so a lot of these kind of social skills, they just don't have them. And I know why they don't have them. We've discussed it. But it's the kind of thing like, okay, that was then. Okay, now you're 35. Okay, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You gonna still be talking about how you grew up 20 years ago? Are you gonna make some changes in the here and now? Your ass got a good job. You got your own car, your own place. You got health insurance. You got benefits. You got a credit cards and checking accounts and ATM cards, and you got a visa. And you need to do some magic and make some shit happen that's gonna leave that in the dust. Okay. So that's that component of the show. I really thought that. Yes, I thought that would be good, and it's a little bit something a little different for you guys. So I thought that would be fun. All right. So now let's go on. Let's here talk about the 20 signs that you have. Now that we did the test, I want to go over a few things that demonstrate that you have low emotional intelligence. If you see yourself in any of these things, all right. Now, keep in mind that this having a low emotional intelligence has nothing to do with your intellect. Okay, they're two completely different things. Intellect is your mind, your brain. Your emotional intelligence is your heart. Okay, two. I mean, ideally they would work together, but some people are really focused on their mental thing, and their heart part is just cold and lost. All right. Well, Lux, you can do better, babe. You can do better. You can do better. And that's what you're here to learn how to do. Wait, somebody asked me a question. Van says, Deb, could you low scoring relationships mean you have a hard time finding people on the same emotional level you are on? Yes, because like I said at the top of the show, according to these scientists, researchers, only 35% of men utilize any kinds of emotional intelligence within a relationship. Not to say they don't have the skills, they don't use them. Either they don't have them or they don't use them, and that's 65% of men. That is a scientifically researched fact. So that would mean that you might have some challenges dealing with a guy because he's not going to be emotionally intelligent. Either he's not choosing not to show you, or he doesn't have those skill sets at all. We don't know that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it would vary from guy to guy, but that's kind of like, how you supposed to have a really happy, mutually happy relationship with somebody who has little to no emotional intelligence? What does that mean? That would mean a lot of frustration. All right, so let's see. Number one, do you have difficulties understanding the feelings of other people? This is on my list of things that people do when they have low emotional intelligence. So you all be thinking about this as we go through this. Is this you? Is this your man? Is this man from the past? I mean, just kind of reflect. Okay, you don't notice and you don't understand the feelings of other people around you at all. You don't get why people are angry. Why they get annoyed with you. You can't even feel things when watching a sad movie or a romantic comedy that other people feel. Number two, you blame other people for how they, quote, make you feel, end quote. People with a low emotional intelligence level believe that they can blame other people for their emotional state and their subsequent behaviors. For example, a man pounds on a woman. Well, you made me mad. See what you made me do? No, you chose to do that, Holmes. You chose to do that because you didn't manage your emotions. These are people that don't want to accept responsibility for their feelings. The concept that nobody's in charge of your life and your behavior is just, they can't admit that to save their life. They hate the idea that nobody can make you feel anything that you don't want to. They just won't accept that at all. They're going to always blame you. Number three, considering others overly sensitive. They may not realize that they are inappropriate, but of course, most of the time they do. When others don't react the way they want them to, they determine that instead of them being wrong, oh, it has to be you being overly sensitive. Um, yeah, they can't think that they was inappropriate. They lack the emotional intelligence to interpret the feelings of other people, and as a result, often misjudge situations. And like I said, this is typically found in people with the Asperger's diagnosis. At least they have a reason. We can understand it. We can work with them. A lot of them are very anxious to learn social skills. They just need somebody with the patience to teach them. But you got a guy he's supposed to be, quote, regular, and this is how he acts. Well, he's either A, choosing to be that way, or B, he doesn't have the skill set either. So you have to figure that part out. Um, Now they say you too sensitive, right? But then number four, on the other hand, everything offends them oh so easily. Oh, they offended about every damn thing. When you lack emotional intelligence, you aren't firm and clear about who you are, so everything that someone else does or says that challenges your shaky sense of yourself, your shaky self-esteem, your shaky self-confidence, your shaky belief in yourself, you want to feel like it's hurt you in some way, it's damaging you, it offends you. You lack confidence. You're also very closed-minded, and you have a very thin skin. For somebody always throwing shade and fucking around with other people, you people throw that shit back at you. You just want to cry like a big baby. Okay, that's you. You have a very, you got some low emotional intelligence going on. You have unexpected emotional outbursts. Self regulation of emotions is a critical adult skill. Low emotionally intelligent people constantly lose control over their reactions. They blow up. I mean, everything's just like all overblown, and they have like very sudden, unexpected, just unreasonable. Where the fuck did that come from? Kind of emotional outbursts. I had an uncle like that. Oh my God, he was just such a pain in the ass to be around. I don't know how his wife stood it. Number six, people with low EQs lack empathy. They're unable to understand the feelings of others. It's like somebody speaking a foreign language to them. That's why they're often emotionally inappropriate. Some examples: they make stupid, childish jokes about dead people at a funeral. Everybody crying and stuff and all upset. This motherfucker over there making jokes. What the fuck is wrong with you? Or you're like Tina Knowles. You making inappropriate comments and jokes at the inopportune wrong time. Same thing. Um, they can't catch nuances of emotional states of other people. Like someone's looking dead at you, right? They looking dead. You sitting across from each other talking at the dinner table, and then they start talking about some ex that they had fabulous whatever nookie with and everything. Okay, now of course you don't want to hear that shit. Your expression changes. He just oblivious, just laugh and talk. Yeah, this and that. But you better, babe. Blah blah blah. Okay, but you were showing that you didn't like that conversation. Did that stop him? He just keeps on going like you haven't said anything. He just like in his own world, totally, like not catching it. The expression on your face. I don't know any woman who would be looking pleased and happy and excited to hear some bullshit like that. I don't know one. Okay. So even if a dude doesn't have good EQ, he should have good sense enough to know that that's like probably not a good thing to talk about. But no, there they go, just running off at the mouth like diarrhea. Um, they have a real time struggle. They can't imagine themselves being in somebody else's shoes. These are guys that you see online. Women are talking about stuff like cramps or the drama of having babies and all this stuff, right? Or the pain of being street harassed and all this kind of stuff. They can't put themselves in your shoes. To them, it's like, what are you talking about? You should feel flattered. That's attention. Okay, that's the perfect examples of people with low emotional intelligence. Number seven, they have difficulty making and keeping friends. They're cold and they're uncaring and they just, lack empathy. And, it's like when you're in a friendship, you looking for emotional support and you want somebody to emotionally support. You want to show, back and forth caring and all stuff. They don't have none of that. It's just everything's very one sided. And so they ultimately end up with no support network and no friends. Number eight, unable to deal with emotionally charged situations. Now, this is what this means is, say there's a death in your family or your dog gets hit by a car. Okay, your dog that you've had for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. This your baby, right? You all upset. You all sobbing. You rushed them to the pet hospital. You rushed to your relatives, funeral home, whatever. You are just like, in this emotional turmoil. They don't know what to do. They can't handle it. Once you tell them, they're going to have to get off the phone. You're not going to see them. You're not going to hear from them. They don't know how to handle emotional situations like that, what we call highly charged emotional situations. And so they just dip. They just dip out. They can't handle it. And even if they do have some feelings, you'll never know because they hide them. Number nine, they walk around with a straight face all the time. Now, we know women have to do that when they're out on the street because, of idiots telling them to smile and, trying to get at them and all this kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like people who, they're in a social situation. They're at work. Their child, their son, daughter just had a baby. Somebody says, happy birthday. Oh, yeah. Okay, what's that all about? You never could get into their head. I had a friend who had a husband like that. He did not want her in his head at all. He was, very, very controlled person emotionally, trying to get him to smile or just do social things. It was like really tough. And that was my first time really, meeting anybody like that. I was like, okay, this dude is kind of weird. But you don't want people. You don't recognize other people's emotions, and you don't want nobody recognizing none of yours. If this is the kind of man that you have, you gonna have a problem. This is gonna be a very emotionally unsatisfying relationship for you. He don't want you to know what he's feeling. He will probably just deny that he's even angry because that's a feeling, and he don't want you to know that he has a feeling. He's not gonna be happy. He's not gonna be sad. He's not gonna be anything. He's just gonna be neutral all the time. The only thing you're gonna see from him is horniness and maybe hunger. That's it. He might yawn a time or two to show he's tired. It very much, you really struggle with people like that. How do people get like that, girl? I don't know, but I just would be, ooh, you going back in the recycle bin. I cannot. Number 10, this is what I call tone deaf. Now you have voice inflections. I can say, hey, you look so pretty, or I can say, ooh, you look pretty. Okay, and as a man, if a man says that to you, you're gonna get two different feelings about it, right? Somebody says, "Hey, good looking," all cheery and fun, and somebody says, "Hey, good looking," licking his lips and shit. Okay, you're gonna get a different feeling. You're gonna feel creeped out like you need a bath, versus feeling, oh, that was a so the tone of voice is important. The tonal quality that which you deliver words. But for people with low emotional intelligence, they never get that. They don't hear anything. They don't hear sadness, happiness, lust, passion, joy, humiliation, rage. Now they don't understand what they hearing. They are fucking tone deaf. It's really kind of weird. Um, they also don't seem to have too much, like they don't have no volume control. Everything is blowing out of proportion with them. Everything is fucking loud and just like, conversations are loud. When they get upset, it's just super loud. Everything is like overly dramatic and emphasizes just too much. Number 11, people with low emotional IQ are easily stressed out. I mean, every little thing flusters them. They don't, I mean, because you can't identify, well, this might be a little bit struggle. This will be a challenge for me to do. I got a lot of stuff going on, that's making me feel a little pressured. I'm not really sure I should take this on. Okay, that's somebody who's in touch with their emotions. They don't do any of that. They just gonna just, oh, that's too much shit for me. Y'all want me to do every goddamn thing. Okay, low emotional intelligence. You don't know how to just communicate, talk to people. You got to act like that. Okay, you got problems. Number 12, unable to specify and name their emotions. Even when they experience emotions, they can't really identify them, right? They can't find the name for the emotion. So if you can't find the name for the emotion, it's impossible to cope with it because you have to label it. You have to like frame it somehow, so that you know what to do with it. But if it's just like floating around and you don't really know what to do with it because you haven't identified it, well, that's just going to create a problem. You're going to feel bad and, not really know what to do with those feelings. So you just hold them in, and that's where the really danger comes in. People with low EQ are also very quick to make assumptions. I've seen a lot of that in the chat room lately, and I have to bust y'all out on it. I didn't say nothing the last 4 or 5 times I've seen it, but like a situation will come up, right? Somebody will say something, somebody writes in. The first thing out of a whole bunch of y'all's mouth is, he fucking her. Now, why would you think that? None of that's indicated in the letter. You fucking the ex, he doing this and that and stuff. That's not the issue at hand. The issue at hand is what this woman who wrote in about is right, the issue that she's writing about. That's all we should be talking about. What he might possibly be doing according to the fantasy you created in your mind is not on the table. I mean, I'm not saying you can't think that. You certainly can think that if you want to. But where is that coming from? See, that's about you. That has nothing to do with the letter writer at all. Nothing to do with her situation. But I noticed repeatedly how many of you, that was the first thing that you typed in the chat room. Now my daughter don't want to watch my live stream. She hears my ass. I mean, she be in her room. She hears it, but she would, she don't want to be bothered with me. She's at that age. She's like, ugh, go do something with yourself. And I'm the same way with her, so it's mutual. But I mean, that's kind of bothers me, you guys, that that's the first thing that you focused on. Not the woman's issue, not her frustration, not a resolution of her problem. The first thing that comes out your mouth is worrying about what that man was doing with his dick. And I'm saying, okay, this is kind of interesting. Where is that coming from? And so many of you do it. So it's not just one or two, dozens. So there's something going on with y'all. I don't know where that's coming from, but I'm merely pointing this out, so you can think about that. Why would I say that? That's not even part of the discussion. Where did that come from? That's something for you to investigate in yourself. Okay, I just want to point that out. That's under point 13, jumping to conclusions, making assumptions that are usually groundless because you have no facts. You haven't even done a full investigation, and yet you've arrived at this and you've served as judge, jury, and executioner based on what? I mean, like I said, none of that's in the letter at all. Woman, that's not even an issue on the table. But that's where you went quickly. All right, so let's move on. Number 14, you keep score and you build shrines to your grudges, honey. You just hold on to that shit, and you tend to keep a scorecard. You keep a scorecard of what about what you did in 1977? I still remember that shit, so you got a lot of nerve talking about me. You know. You keep holding on to stuff like that. You building your little grudge shrines and whatnot. You start to fling that shit up and throw it in your partner's face every now and again what they did, and you still remember that time and all this sort of stuff. You doing that stuff, so you always gonna end up with a high blood pressure, heart disease, and a stroke. Cause you doing too much. That's not how you handle yourself. You got a problem with your partner, you talk it out and you move on. Now you want to be building shrines to shit, then I don't know what to tell you. Become a Buddhist or something. You need to chant that out because you're doing the most. Number 15, you struggle to assert yourself. Now, this is like people with low emotional intelligence usually have low self esteem as well. Now, have you noticed that? These things I've been going over, these are all things about, you not really managing yourself and respecting yourself and handling yourself well. These the people, when they feel like they get crossed, they either react in a very passive way or they be very aggressive. Like somebody step on your shoes, they want to beat your ass. A man asks you for your phone number, you say no, he want to kill you. Okay, these are people with very, very, very low emotional intelligence that their reactions are off the chart wrong. Okay, or the ones that, like I said, become very passive and just go along with everything to get along. If you have a good emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, you know how to search yourself. I'm not saying you got to jump up and tell, cuss people out and stuff like I do, but you're gonna stay assertive. Your boundaries are gonna be very firm. You don't have no problem telling people no, to back them up off of you, that kind of stuff. You can be kind, you can be empathetic, you have great manners, you're very fun to be around, all these kind of things, great traits. But you know how to back a motherfucker up off of you without resorting to being, pulling out guns and wanting to kill people and all this old nonsense. It's not that serious. All right. Well, we ain't talking about your dick right now, Jack Jones. We talking about something else. Come on now. Feeling understood. Often find it hard to express themselves clearly. Always feeling understood. High IQ people, I'm sorry, EQ people change their approach to get to explain something even better. So if you say you're saying something and people aren't really getting it with the word choices that you're using, then they would, change that and break it down or use different language, whatever they need to do to communicate their message so that their audience understands. That is a key component to a great communicator. If in France, you speak French. It's just that simple. All right. Number 18, 17 rather. They always want to be having a beef with somebody. Beefing constantly with one person or another. Always got some shit stirred up. Can't do nothing with them because they always taking stuff, getting in their feelings about everything, and always want to argue with everybody. They argue with everybody. It's just, they don't really think about the emotional state of other people. They just thinking about, whatever it is that's bothering them with no regard for what if I say this or do this to this person, how is this gonna affect them, how's it gonna affect our relationship. Oh, they never think about that. They thinking about this far to the tip of their nose, if that far. Number 18, they downplay the importance of emotions. We're almost done. I'm almost done with my list. These are people that know that they don't do handle emotions very well, so they put them down, right? They can't admit, well, I'm not really good at that. I guess I need to work on that. I'm, very poor at understanding what other people thinking and feeling. Instead, oh, you need to be more logical like me. No, you're an idiot. You're not logical. Unbelievable. Okay, and the last two, they're unaware of what their emotional triggers are. People with a high EQ know that their triggers know the triggers that will provoke them, right? The low EQ people cannot predict their own responses to situations, so they're unable to avoid putting themselves into weird situations over and over and over again. And then the last one, they get super stressed out just very easy about every damn thing. But it's like when you stuff your feelings down and you don't really address them, that shit builds up. And so you end up with anxiety. These are people that have depression, anxiety, nervous conditions, and depression. And then a lot of them want to commit suicide, or these murder suicides because they don't know what to do with their emotions. They're very poor at handling them. Oh my God, it's just too much. Now, how can you? I'm going to skip this because it's going to be going on forever. I got a little carried away. How can you get smarter about feelings both in yourself and other people? Okay, that's my summary. Well, you can start making yourself be, those of you who took the test and you noticed that you were, kind of low in some areas, these are some suggestions for you to improve your emotional intelligence levels. Okay, that's what I'm about to read you right now. Um, your goal, anyway, is to develop these five, what they call the big five personality traits that people with these five personality traits tend to be very successful in pretty much everything that they attempt to do. These are the five: openness, conscientiousness, that means you're responsible and reliable, for those of you unfamiliar with that word. You're an extrovert, you like interacting with other people. You're agreeable, you're friendly, you're cooperative, you have compassion for other people. And you're emotionally stable. You're present, you're calm, you're focused. You don't be all over the place. People can, you like a rock. It might be have a rock with a few cracks in it here and there, but in general, you're a pretty solid person. You don't fly off the handle. You model appropriate behavior and appropriate communication for the situation. So those are the five: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and emotional stability. People that possess those five traits tend to go far in the world. Okay? Those of you who do not have those traits need to work on developing them. So let's talk about how you can get smarter. I mean, okay, you got this is your goal, right? To develop yourself in these five areas. How do you do that? Well, I have some suggestions. Of course I do. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to tell you, this is what's wrong with you. Look at this test. I'm going to tell you how to fix it. So you need to be open to feedback. All of you who are here obviously are. At least to feedback from me, you're open to. But try to open that up a little. Just because somebody you might not um, sometimes people notice something about you, like your friends might notice, their family members, that you have a behavior pattern that's shooting yourself in the foot, is something that you repeatedly do, or it's a belief system that you have that's not really working for you. For example, women who run around talking about, I can't deal with nothing but a black man. Yet, here you are, 45, with a string of not disastrous relationships behind you with these nothing but a black man things. And you be open yourself up to, well, maybe, girlfriend, you should try dating some other type of man who's interested in you. Maybe you shouldn't think that love only comes with one color. Or maybe you've been trying to pursue this career and you haven't been really finding any luck at it, but you're really good at blah 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 blah. Or why do you get so mad and want to just do this and that and this and that? I mean, can't you just talk to people calm? I mean, there's whatever the feedback may be, be open to it and then really consider it. You don't have to do it, of course. You don't have to change anything about yourself unless you want to. But if you have people that you trust and love and they're pointing these things out to you, maybe you should listen. Okay, so that might help you. Um, Broaden your perspective. Learn to see the big picture. My mother used to say, somebody can't see the forest for the trees. So it's like you focusing on that one tree, and there's like 9 million trees around you. You can't see the forest because you focusing on that one tree. That's what we mean. You know, it's a risk you take to be the same, and it's a risk you take to try to change. Either one's gonna be a risk, because I mean, either one is a gamble. But if you know for a fact, if you keep being the way that you are now, nothing's gonna be different. Now that you know, okay, that's a proven fact. Do you want to continue on this path, or do you want to try for something better? Because you keep doing the same shit, you're not gonna get better. You're just gonna get more the same. Now, if more the same is fine to you, then you continue doing what you're doing. But if you want better, you want greater, you want more, you want fancier, you want better looking, you want, I mean, whatever, then you got to change. That's the only there's only that one choice. So how you change, that's gonna be up to you. But I'm saying, if you have some word of friends around you, people that have insight into you, then why would you not listen to them? And like I said, you will have the ultimate authority to determine if what they are suggesting or point out is something that you want to do. You don't have to do it. But these are people who care about you, and they're going to point out, well, maybe you should consider this. Well, then your ass need to consider it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Make the time to stop and check in with yourself several times over the course of a day. These are suggestions in case you're not clear what's going on right now. I am reading off my suggestions for how you can develop your emotional intelligence to a higher level. these are things that you can try. If you come writing it down now, you can go back and listen to this later. Really, I prefer that people kind of think about the stuff I'm saying. And then if you want to write it down and really, get into your head. Because right now, I just want you to kind of listen and say, okay, well, yeah, I do that. No, I do that. Or I could probably do this and that to make the, this is kind of just a tip of the iceberg thing. You can get deeper into it later. Because if you start focusing too hard on one thing, you're gonna miss what else I said. All right. So you're gonna stop. You're gonna give yourself time to figure out what exactly it is that you're feeling. Okay, this is to train you to get in touch with your emotions, and by figuring out exactly what it is that you're feeling, you can come up with some words. And I want you to use strong descriptive words. I'm gonna give you a list of some suggestions in a minute. Strong descriptive words that will describe accurately what it is you're feeling. You're not going to just say, I'm mad. You're going to be more descriptive than that. You hurt me. How? What hurt you? I mean, do you see what I mean? Go more into it, be deeper with it. Ask yourself why you feel the way that you do. This is something I started, when I was talking about the response of all the women. He fucking her. He's still messing with his ex. He's that. Okay, why do you feel that way? I mean, that's just one example. I'm sure there's others, but you have to decide that. You have to stop and get into your head and figure out, okay, that was my gut reaction. That was my first thought. Why? Why did I think that? Where'd that come from? What's happened in my life and my history that would make me think that thing automatically? Um, can you read people? Because I'm telling you, women with a high emotional EQ, emotional intelligence level, they can read people like nobody's business. They can just look at somebody and say, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. They thinking this and that, or they trying to do this and that, blah, blah, blah. They can just practically smell it on people. They have what I call great spidey senses. You heard me saying my spidey senses was tingling. It's like that. They have great spidey senses, and they're also fabulous empaths. So they can feel what other people are feeling. But of course, in order to do that, you have to recognize what you're feeling as well as what other people are feeling. Then you can do that. You have to learn to respond from a centered place. Okay, not be popping off at the head and getting angry. That's your first response is anger. You need to learn how to respond from a centered place, which is the place that's going to get you the desired result. Okay, this is when my idea of and then what comes into play. So you blow off, you cuss out your boss. Okay, now what? Now you ain't got no job. You ain't gonna get no reference. You ain't gonna get no money. You're not gonna get. I mean, you're gonna lose your place. You're gonna lose your car because you can't get a job. Your money's gonna run out after a minute. What you gonna do? Maybe there's another way to approach this. And had you stopped and thought for a minute, uh, and got yourself centered, you could have said, Boss, I might like to speak to you for a few minutes about, what just happened. And you can calmly bring your points to the table and resolve the issue and still keep your job because you need it to eat. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, cussing that man out in a minute in the heart, right now that might feel really good. But is that going to get you the desired result? And that's why you have to take that deep breath, do that woo-saw for a time or two, and center yourself, ground yourself, and then let them have it. Okay? Except that everything has good and bad points, okay? There's gray area. Most of life is a gray area. Y'all just want to be black and you want to be white. And it's like, okay, what about all the middle? Just like dudes. Well, you either with me, a good guy, or you with a thug. Okay, what about all the dudes in the middle? You know what I mean? Just the regular people. That's not thugs and they ain't you. I mean, it's millions of them in the middle and you just leaving them out. So that's what I'm saying. Some people just be doing too much. Don't automatically assume that somebody else's mood or actions are your fault or your responsibility. This is very important because sometimes you think when people are snappy or they kind of snap at you, you feel like you start questioning yourself. Well, what did I do? What did I say? Well, it got to be about you. Maybe they just in a bad mood. Maybe they just had a car accident, or they got towed, or they just found they need to get surgery or something. I mean, why do you feel like it has to be something that you did wrong? That is very low self-esteem and very low emotional intelligence at work there. Stop doing that. Women tend to do that. Oh, he's mad. What did I do? Wait, maybe I should have this, I shouldn't have that. And you start like digging into the way back when she ain't talking about, trying to figure out what you did that quote made him that way. Is he you didn't make him do shit. Remember what I said earlier. Nobody can make you do anything. They ain't gonna make you feel nothing either. I mean, if you get mad, yeah, you're gonna be mad because you feel disrespected, but you have to own that. Okay, that's not them. They did what they did. Your interpretation of what they did is what's causing your emotional response. But see, you control that. Okay, this is a lot. This is adulting here. This is adulting 101 that we're talking about tonight. Um, Stop focusing on your negatives all the time and celebrate your positive. These little women get around here and, I just have bad luck with men. Nothing ever turns out right. All my relationships are fucked. I'll never trust a man again. This and that. Okay, I mean, we've all had bad experiences. Trust me. But what about the good things that, you experienced? The relationship couldn't have been all bad because otherwise you wouldn't have got in it. I mean, what did you learn? How did you grow in that relationship before it, turned to shit? I mean, what good happened to you maybe at work while you was in that relationship? What good things have you accomplished that you can be happy about instead of focusing on that negative all the time? Okay, low EQ people will focus on the negatives and relive painful situations over and over and over again with the same adrenaline rush and the same pain. It's like they want to feel it. Like all the women in them groups online that we be talking about, going out looking for things online where somebody said they don't like a black woman with certain skin tone or hair or natural hair, whatever. They find it, they post it up. And here they go, all of them like they're in church or something, the rejected me mammy church. Oh my God, they hate us. Look at what they're saying about us. Nah, nah. And they just go ballistic and crazy. Low EQ, low, super low, toilet level low. What about the good stuff that's happened to you? Why you got to go look for shit to be miserable about and feel hurt about? So I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's like they just focus on the negative, and it's about some clown they don't even know, and what this clown they don't know said and thinks. I'm like, oh, the pain, my head. You should never assume that what you think is a fact. Okay, we're right back. We circle back to this. He fucking that bitch. He fucking his ex. Okay, that's not a fact. You don't know that. Okay, but you is in your head that that's the reality. That's very dangerous, and you should stop doing that. Okay, you need to investigate shit. It just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. And even if something did happen, and like you made a mistake in life, or you did something dumb, whatever. Okay, you can recover from that. It's nothing to condemn yourself about for the next 27 years. Let it go. Okay, everybody makes a mistake. That's how you learn. Well, don't do that again, but you could do something else. I mean, I'm constantly finding new ways to fuck up some shit. Let me tell you, constantly. But the only reason that you fuck up shit is because you're trying to do something. If you don't ever fuck up nothing, that means your ass ain't trying. You just sitting there just being comfortable in your mediocrity. You're not trying to do shit better. You're not trying to learn nothing. You're not trying to be greater later. You just happy just being just where you are, all mediocre and crazy. Yeah, we shouldn't, Vic. I'm telling you. I don't even know. And plus, it's like some old knuckleheads. They don't even know no way. What the hell? I don't understand it. It's like they just like want to take a bite of a pain sandwich. Practice some empathy. Okay, you emotionally low levels of emotional intelligent people. Try to empathize with other people sometimes. Put yourself in their shoes for a minute. Try at least, to see what their perspective is. Everybody gonna be like you. Everybody's not gonna see the world the way that you do or have your experiences. Okay, that doesn't make them right or you wrong, if them or vice versa. It makes you different. Appreciate those differences. Try to understand where other people are coming from. You'll have way more friends that way. You get invited to more places. And then the final one, develop your what I call active listening skills. We talk about this a lot in communications, active listening, because speaking is part of it. Listening well is the other. Because most people sit there and they listen, but they only listen to you in the conversation so they can jump in and either shut you down or start an argument or contradict what you said or talk about themselves. It's usually one of them kind of things. They're not really listening to you. If you are a good listener, people will feel so heard by you and so understood. You will connect to people in their heart in a way that is just irresistible and so meaningful to them. That's the kind of connection that you want to have, like with your kids. You got little kids, they have some little ugly ass drawing and they just so proud of it. And here they come, mommy, I want to show you my picture. Okay, most parents are like, yeah, and then choop, toss it over. Okay, sit down with the kid and you say, "Wow, these colors are beautiful that you used. Tell mommy, how you chose to draw this thing, and let them talk about it. Let them share that moment with you and their excitement. Your man is gonna be the same way. Your female friends the same way. So it's like if you don't really listen to people, they're around you, they're talking to you, and you on your phone, you thinking about some other shit, you jumping, talking over them, you're interrupting them, you looking around, you're not really focusing on them as they talk to you. You're not nodding like yes, like I hear you, tell me more, this kind of stuff. You're not doing that, then you're not a good active listener and people don't not going to feel heard by you and they're not going to connect to you. That's a skill set a lot of people need to work on, not just the ones who tested poorly today. This is a overwhelming problem. Now I'm gonna give you guys some examples of vocabulary words that describe feelings. Okay, these are just options. Instead of just saying I'm mad, I'm sad, you piss me off, there's like so many different adjectives that you could use. Surprised, afraid, anxious, depressed, super happy, passion filled, jealous, ashamed, angry, guilty, disappointed, confused, envious, disgusted, furious, full of admiration, gleeful, thankful, frustrated, embarrassed, excited, curious, pissy, giddy. And those are just the ones, from the top of my head. So you see what I'm saying? When somebody uses a word like that, won't you have a much better idea of what they're feeling than if they just say, "Oh yeah, that's all right. Yeah, okay, that works." Can you give me something more? Oh my god, I hate people like that. So, in summary, my young lovely people, in summary, um emotional intelligence is is the ability to identify what you're feeling, knowing how to interpret your emotions, and understand how your emotions can impact other people. If you have strong skills in you're emotionally intelligent individual, you can regulate not only your emotions, but you can manage and regulate other people. Well, not regulate, but you can manage other people's emotions as well. And how you do that is by active listening. If they're upset, right, you can talk them down. By if you have a situation where there's a conflict between you and another individual, by you staying calm and keeping your voice modulated, not escalating the situation, they have no choice but to calm down themselves. It's called mirroring. It's a psychological technique. All shrinks use it, and it's a very effective technique to use in relationships. It People model after you. They will follow your script. But you lead that. You have to be the one to make that determination. Now, when you have the ability to regulate your emotions and to manage other people's, you pretty much can predict outcomes for the future. Because, like I said, if you got a situation where you can calm people down, you can de escalate conflicts and stuff like that, you're going to direct those people to a different solution and a different way of existing with each other than they could ever do by themselves. You have a lot of power if you have good emotional intelligence skills. Otherwise, shit just blows up around you. People stop talking to each other forever. It's a big fight. People, gunfire. I mean, all kinds of stuff can happen when people just keep escalating, and that's not what you want. All right. So, basically, you're looking at four core competencies: self awareness, which is the ability to recognize your emotions and their impact; self management, the ability to control your emotions and behavior and adapt to changes very quickly. You can stop and ask yourself, what are my options right now for expressing my feelings? What are the consequences of each option for me? What are the consequences of each option for the other party? What result am I hoping for? What do I want to do? Now, right, I might want to punch you in the eye. I might want to cuss you out. Or like my ex-boyfriend, I might want to run you over with my car. But, you just don't do that because you start to manage your emotions. And the final one, what if I do nothing? Then what? Okay, you should stop and ask yourself all those things as you center yourself before you start popping off at the mouth. It's writing checks that your ass then has to suffer and cash. Don't do that. All right. Social awareness. This is number three. Social awareness. The ability to sense, understand, and react to the emotions of other people and to feel comfortable in social settings. And number four, relationship management, the ability to inspire and influence and connect to other people and to manage any conflicts that you may have with them. All right, those are very important factors. You know, to sum that up, it's really I want to reiterate this. I want everybody to be very clear. There's nothing wrong with having conflict with other people. I'm not saying you got to go out there and be Pollyanna, getting along with everybody, grinning and doing stuff. I do not want you to hide your emotions. What I want you to do is learn to recognize exactly what they are and to express them in ways that get you the results that you want. Okay, now if you blow up and cuss somebody out and all that stuff, and the end result is that you want to break up with them, well, then you just probably accomplished that goal. But if you know this is a relationship that's valuable to you, are you going to sit there and call your man every kind of motherfucker, talk about his dick size? He can't fuck anyway. You always faked. I mean, are you going to hit him with all that kind of stuff because you mad? You're upset now? And so you just start just blowing up, popping off at the mouth, saying all kind of crazy shit to the man? This is something that some women do. I mean, the low levels of emotional intelligence at work here. But even if you guys don't break up that second, you have permanently damaged your relationship. He's never going to trust you again. So I mean, you got to think, what's your goal? What is it you want to happen? What's your end game? Okay, and then conduct yourself accordingly. You can't be just doing everything that you want to do. And I'm just going to read it because I did a lot of work on this show. In order to secure friends and romantic partners who possess both emotional intelligence and emotional maturity, you have to have those traits yourself. That way, you can quickly and easily recognize when you run into someone who's lacking. The more you develop these skills in yourself, the less interest and time you will have to spend with some people who do not. You won't be able to stand them because they're energy vampires and they make you feel fucking crazy. That's ah. And that concludes my show for tonight on emotional intelligence. I'm telling you, anybody got any questions before we end it? I'll see if you guys got any Yeah, you can't teach people these things, but I'm pointing out to you the work that you would have to do on yourself in order to do it. I can't teach you how to, I mean, I can show you how to become an active listener. Like if this was a live thing, I could pull someone from, the group, and everybody could watch me demonstrate active listening. But can I, teach it to you like I can teach you your ABCs, where you're gonna take it and use it the rest? Not, like ABC. No, it's not that kind of thing, because it requires that you first have to understand yourself, and that's work that only you can do. I can show you how to do it. I can let you see it in action. I can give you a reference point. But as far as me teaching it to you, so you just, it's something that you just learn and go away with, emotions aren't like that. That's up here. Okay, that's intellectual. We're talking emotions, and everybody's emotional response, even to the same situation, is going to be different. So, what you're going to take from a situation and what you're going to feel about a situation and how you're going to need to handle the situation is going to be different for each and every one of you. Okay, so it's nothing I can teach you. You can't teach a grown man anything. He can teach himself, or that's just it. Someone have any of y'all? Why does he do that? That shit was eye opening for me. Oh, no. I don't have time to read other people's books. I'm too busy doing this damn show. It did improve, but it was still rusty dusty. Yeah, because it really wasn't him. He was trying to please you, but he wasn't, that's not who he is. And so, like I said, that 65%, that was very telling. 65% of men just do not demonstrate any kind of any kind of emotional intelligence. I mean, that makes it a real struggle. No wonder there's so many problems in relationships. You know, that's very, very challenging. Yeah, that's true, Vic. Either they care and they gonna act right from the gate, or they not. And that's just, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There's nothing else to say about that. That's just how it is. Any other questions? Let me see. I thought I could have sworn I saw somebody had asked one earlier. Oh, this was from Molly. I see it wasn't a question, it was a comment. The only thing that can kill a whale is an orca, the apex predator of the ocean, which is also matriarchal. Only matriarchy can take out itself. Women participating in patriarchy, look at yourself. Yeah, but the problem with that, Molly, I mean, it's not really a problem, but the problem is that so many women have never been presented with any options. They're deeply ingrained in that in their religion. That's their socialization since they were a child. Their family dynamics is set up that way. So for them to buck that system means that they have to have the courage to separate from their family unit, which a lot of people just don't have. I mean, family is very important to them, and they're going to do anything they can to remain part of that clan. So, we're looking at it from the outside saying, well, that's really damaging. You shouldn't do that to yourself. You should let that go. But, that's not us. I mean, some people need their family more than others. So, that's a real uphill struggle. I understand where you're coming from, but it's just I doubt that it's that easy for most of them. All right. But I guess that's pretty much all I got to say for tonight. I hope that this was informative for you guys, and that learn something, put something on your mind for you to think about. It's another tool for you to use to develop yourself into a better woman. Okay? We want you to be the best woman that you can be. And understanding how people around you feel and managing their emotions as well as your own is key to your success in life, career, and love. You have to do a lot of that to be successful. You feel everything. Well, yeah, I'm an empath too, and but you have to learn to psychically ground yourself. You cannot take on everybody's burden. You will feel a lot of energy draining through this chakra here, and you have to just kind of imagine yourself with a plate, a cap, steel cap. I'm just telling my visualization with a steel cap on, and I ground myself by connecting to the earth and let that energy flow back into me, and then I'm all right. So the visualization technique, but it does work. And then you find that you're surrounded by too many people that want to suck all the life out of you. You need to get away from them. That's why you see I only do so many shows a week. I only do the advice letters once, maybe twice a week. That is very draining for me because I have to, my empath kicks in to try to feel what they're feeling, and that's why I, either sympathize with them or kick their ass because I know they on some bullshit. So, but still, that's very draining, and you need to take time for yourself and back off and do some self care when you're a true empath. But I don't mean you got to be a true empath. I'm just saying demonstrate some empathy. Try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes to see where they're coming from for a change. It's not always just about you. All right. So, yeah, that's it for tonight, young people. I will be back on the weekend. I may put up a recorded show because I got so many people really are interested in my old blog talk shows. So I may edit and put one of those up for you. But I'll definitely be back for the live stream on Tuesday. Next, What the Fuck Tuesday? Tuesday night, be here at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 if you're on the East Coast. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com. Thanking you for coming and spending the evening with me. And I'll see y'all very soon. Bye bye.